our first jobs, what do they mean to us? Where could our first jobs have been? I mean, here in Florida, your first job could have been at Publix, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, or any of the major fast food chains. Mine is just one walk away down that to the left, which is now called Word of Life Church. But from when I was there from 1996 to 1998, it wasn't Word of Life Church. It was Southpointe Cinema in Fort Myers, Florida. How's it going, old schoolers? You are kicking it old school. I am your host, Russell J.S. And today, I thought I'd make a video and tell you a little bit about, do a video about what our first jobs were when we were in high school. Now, I can remember, I had long hair back then just like this, and I can remember filling out many job applications because my father wouldn't allow me. Well, I can get my driver's license if I wanted because I had the, I had the certificate from driver's ed to get, to go get my driver's license because I passed driver's ed. But my father said, yeah, go get your driver's license, but how are you going to pay for insurance? I'm not going to let you drive my vehicles unless you could pay for insurance. You're going to have to get a job. And I wasn't too keen on that because I wanted to be a working musician. I wanted to play heavy metal guitar and be a working musician. So that way I could just play in bands, and he didn't see that. He saw that as just a dream. But what had happened was I asked my dad if he would at least temporarily instate me in his insurance so I could go out, drive around, look for a job, which I was going to do, but being your typical father, he wasn't falling for that. He was thinking that you were going to drive around with your friends and all that other silly stuff. So I asked him, how am I going to do it without transportation? He goes, you have a bicycle. Ride on your bike, go to Publix, go to McDonald's, go to Subway, go to Taco Bell, And I was like, okay. So I went one day on my bicycle, I tied my hair up in a ponytail, and I put on a nice shirt, dress slacks, and a tie. And my father said, even if you get sweaty still with this shirt and tie, they'll see that you're hungry, that you want a job. So I went along with that. I turned down Publix because I would have to cut my hair. Alright, every guy that worked in Publix was clean cut. I mean, you couldn't even have a beard working at Publix. So just going up and down all around looking for work and couldn't find anything. When I was 17, my youth group director, Renee, her husband Roger was the manager for Southpointe Theater. He gave me a call and he said, well, my wife is telling me that you're looking for a job so you could pay for insurance to drive. How would you like to come to work at the theater? And I said, okay, sure. So he started me off, and my first day, he went ahead, had me fill out the application and everything, take my information, my tax stuff, etc., and I had a job. I worked at Southpointe Cinema from August of 1996 till, I think, November of 1998, and then I went to go work for my dad delivering appliances. Once in a while I like to come back, and I thought maybe I'd take you all with me. Oh, and also, as usual, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, send me a like, leave a comment in the box below, and, tell me about your first job in high school. But I want to show you around my first place of work. Without further ado, let's check this bad Oscar out, shall we? Well, let me get out of the car first. Building right there. What used to be Southpointe Cinema. It was a movie theater where you could, you go to a movie and all tickets, all times, all ages, $1.50. This place was constructed and established in 1993, closed its doors in 1999. As you can see, there's still remnants of it being a movie theater where you see the emergency exit doors. If you see that door right there in the center, I don't know if you could see it real good. That's where the ticket booth was, or we used to call it box. And I would stand right over there behind that door on the right, and I would tear tickets. That was what you call a doorman. Now, the doorman's job was, well, we tore tickets, greeted the customers, and when all the movies started, we went around the lobby, cleaning, sweeping, checking garbage, checking bathrooms, making sure the bathrooms were clean. And when the movies got out, we'd go in the auditoriums with the brooms and dustpan and a garbage can, and we would clean the auditoriums out. And then what would happen was we'd get popcorn kernels for the concessionaires, change out drink syrups if they ran out of Coca-Cola. And we also bagged the tickets at the end of the night. Sometimes when the new movies would get out, we would go ahead and we'd put the movies up on the signs. Nowadays they got computers that do that. And we'd also go up where that's where the marquee used to be. We used to go up on the marquee and put the movie titles up. And then, we'd go ahead and hand in our, sign out, clean the popcorn machine and clean the lobby. And then we'd go sign out and go home. That was if you worked the second shift. We would open up at 2:30 in the afternoon and it would close at 10:30. One of my jobs that I would do at night, where that dumpster is, I'd take out all the garbage and the leftover popcorn and throw it in there, along with the oil drums for the popper. Boy, a lot of memories here. Right over where you see that, where it's filled in, was the showcases where the movie posters were. But yeah, lots of fond memories of my first job. I was always loyal to my supervisor, Roger. I didn't even call him my boss. I called him a mentor. Because the way I see it, when you have your first job as a teenager in high school, you don't have a supervisor. You have a mentor. You have a teacher. You have a teacher, and you're not an employee. You're an apprentice. I'm going to go here in the back. We used to spend our dinner breaks around here. There used to be a Burger King which got torn down, and there's a McDonald's there. We used to go to either or. And we used to sit here, have our dinner, have a cigarette, other curricular activities as well. And there's where the back door was. The exit back door where I'd come back here and I'd throw the garbage in the dumpster here. I do remember one night I was taking out the garbage, trying to get ready to go home. I parked my van, when I had a van, not that van, but my regular van that I had, my first vehicle. I parked it right where that palm tree is. And I had just been jamming with some friends, maybe a potential band or something. And I was making my way out this back door to take out the trash. I caught a kid trying to break into my van. My guitar and my amplifier was in the back of my van. So he was probably making an attempt to go grab my guitar and amp, break in my van. I caught him, and I chased him all the way down there where that trailer is. And what I did was I got in my van and I drove around to find a parking space, and I called the sheriff's department. He did some damage to the back lock of the back door of my van. I had a 1990 Plymouth Voyager minivan for my first vehicle. So it was a hatch. And he busted up the lock on my driver's side, too. Alright. And it was here, my first job at Southpointe Movie Theater, I was starstruck for the first time in my life. I'm going to get to that one right there. Right over this way, I remember I was tearing tickets. I saw a red Ferrari pull up in that parking space right there, that empty space. Brand new red Ferrari. Now the thing is, this place, when I was working here, this was a sub-run movie theater, which means all the blockbuster movies, we would get them a couple months after they were released. And sometimes those movies, you know, we would get the movies just when they were ready to come out to video. Like, for example, when I came to work here in August of 1996, we had just got the movie Twister. And that was one of the biggest blockbusters of the summer of 1996. And probably about a month or so after we got it, it had just come to video. We ended up getting Titanic by the tail end of summer of 1998. And about a month later, Titanic came out to video. We still had it here at the theater. We had it in the two front auditoriums, the DTS digital theater sound and the widescreen stereo sound. And right over there, the line was right there from the box office all the way to the corner. And people were boasting about, oh, this is my 25th time seeing Titanic. I just bought it on VHS and I had to come to the theater to see it again. Now, anyway, back to being where I was starstruck. Anyway, that parking space right there, the red Ferrari pulled up. I saw the couple getting out of the car, and I thought to myself, who in their right mind that drives that kind of vehicle would come to this place to see a movie, right? Well, the couple make their way to the box office. The lady came to the front door. Real beautiful blonde. I opened up the door and welcomed her in. And when the guy came up, I mean, I saw him from afar. He had long, brownish, grayish hair. He was wearing a sweatshirt, blue jeans, and sneakers. And I thought, you gotta be kidding me, right? Who was it that handed me the tickets? Cliff Williams of AC/DC. As you can see, you know, big AC/DC fan. I'm definitely old school there. And he looked me in the eye. He said, "Which way, mate?" So I took the tickets to him, handed back his stubs, and I said, "Sir, that'll be the third auditorium to the left. Enjoy your movie." He went to the concessions to go buy, you know, his popcorn and his drinks for him and his date. And the guy, friend of mine that was behind the counter said, "Dude, you know who that was, right?" And I said, "Uh-huh." He told me to ask, I should have asked for his autograph. I said, "No. He wants to see his movie." I didn't want to bother him. As big of a fan of AC/DC as I am, I did not want to bother the guy. I'm sure he doesn't want to be bothered in his spare time, so why should I go ahead and say, "Hey, can you autograph the ticket stub?" But yeah, I would work, you know, sometimes double shifts, an afternoon shift from 2:30 to 6:30 or 6:30 to 10:30. On weekends, we opened at noontime and closed at 11, and I do double shifts on the weekend. And it was right down there where I pointed earlier, where I almost chased the kid down. When payday would come around, there's a shopping center right over there. There used to be a grocery store called U-Save. And U-Save cashed your checks. So we would walk over to U-Save. We had to make sure we walked in front of the shopping plaza so we wouldn't get hassled by the bums. We would go over to U-Save, get our checks cashed, and come back and work the rest of the day. It was a fun job, you know. I bet if that building can talk right now, it would say, "Hey Russell, how you been? It's been so long." Yep. But yeah, this was my first job. I'll never forget it. I always loved movies, so it was a perfect job for somebody like me. Absolutely perfect. And right here, where the marquee is at the front entryway, it used to be a little taller than that. It had a platform where you could stand, like on a billboard. But I remember one night, my van was in the shop at the time, so I had to rely on my father to come get me one night. I was standing here one night, you know, waiting for him to pull around. Minding my own business. I had my Walkman going, my cassette Walkman. I was, you know, just listening, bebopping around, listening to the Misfits. Standing right here, and I could see a lady. There used to be, where these bushes are, there used to be a way to turn in. That's Buckets. They had some, that place I'm also going to get to as well. She was running this way, and she was turning to see about getting help with a car chasing her. And the guy got out of the car, started chasing her and attacking her. I didn't know what to do. I saw it. And back when we had payphones, I saw two girls over there, you know, that I worked with. I don't know if they were able to see what was going on, but when I saw, I started running towards that way, calling to them to call 911 immediately. And one of them went ahead, dialed 911, and got Lee County Sheriffs out here. And I stayed behind because I was a witness to what had happened. It was right here in this parking lot that I met up with Lee County Sheriffs and that couple where the guy was beating up his wife. And my dad was starting to pull up here. He saw me, I was over here, so he turned in right here in the parking lot. And when the cops said I was free to go, I got in the car with my dad and I told him about what happened. It was not really pleasant. But anyway, here we are. We're also standing in the parking lot of Buckets. It's kind of a local sports bar type, you know, kind of like Hooters in a way. But better food quality. I hope so still to this day because I haven't eaten there in years. They had some good wings, I remember that. I remember the sauces that they had. It was mild, medium, hot, and for the very brave, the suicide sauce. And I remember there was another place that was similar called Mugs and Jugs, which is still in Lehigh Acres, Florida. They were kind of similar in a way, except the sauces were mild, medium, hot, 911. But if you're in the Fort Myers area and you want a good place to eat, there you go, Buckets, Wings, and More. I used to stop there when I had enough money, get a hot dog or a plate of wings or a hamburger. I'd come to walk here. It was a crying shame that Southpointe Theater had closed down when it did in 1999. Because if you take a look right here out in the street, you see those condos and those apartments. Think about how convenient that is to go to the movies. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go see a movie at Southpointe, considering I live across the street. I could walk all the way to the theater from my house. And for $1.50, you couldn't go wrong. Large soda and popcorn were $3.50 each. And all seats were $1.50, all ages, all day. But that was my little grand tour of my first job. If anybody has any fond memories of their first job, leave a comment. Tell me about it. Anyway, this is your old pal Russell J.S. wanting to wish you Godspeed, and may the Force be with you. Always.